Today, we are going to talking about what is the difference between long hold and short hold stretching and when should you do which. If this is your first time to the channel, welcome. If you are one of my regular viewers, welcome back. It's so great to have you here. If you've seen some of my other stretching videos from my stretching playlist, which will be linked in the description, you may have seen that I talk a lot about like longer hold stretches and how that's really good for helping everything kind of re-lengthen and get back to where it should be. But stretching for shorter periods of time can also be beneficial. And you might be wondering, when should I do which and what is the job of each one? So that's what I want to talk about today. So my name is Catherine. I'm the founder and principal therapist of LSM Clinic, a sport and remedial massage therapy clinic in East London. In this channel, I share information about how the body works and how you can take better care of yourself, self-care tips, and how we support our clients so that you can enjoy your favorite activities and live your life as close to pain-free as possible. And one of the most important things with self-care is stretching, right? And we've talked before about like how to make sure you're stretching the right muscles and like how stretching can actually be harmful and how to know if your stretching is helping. But today I wanted to go a little bit deeper into the long hold versus short hold stretch. So when I was a kid and I played football, or as we call it in America, soccer, we would always do static stretching before we started playing as part of our warm-up. Hopefully that hasn't aged me too much. But that will just show you how much our thinking about stretching has come, because if you are someone who follows like a current self-care, healthcare stretching advice, you know that static stretching is no longer recommended before, but it's recommended after, right? Right after you train. And that is a fantastic time to be doing the shorter stretches. So in my opinion, and from what I've seen with clients, the best use of the shorter stretches, which is like 20 to 30 seconds, I would say goes into two categories. First category is after you've exercised, after you've done repetitive activities using your muscles, whether that's running, playing football, weight training, cycling, whatever it is, doing a quick 20 to 30 second stretch on each of your muscles that you used a lot in that exercise is a really great way to help them re-lengthen after you have used and contracted those muscles over and over. One of the things that I learned in reading about muscle physiology is that it appears that after our muscles contract, unless we actually lengthen them, when they relax, they don't go back to the original length. And I will see if I can find a link for you on that, because I know it was in a book I read, I want to say 10 years ago, maybe even 15, but I'm sure it's somewhere. And I always like to have sources. So I'll do my best to find that link for you. So basically what that means is that if you contract your muscles over and over and over again, yes, they might like relax, but they won't re-lengthen back out to the length that they were before you contract them. So a quick stretch, 20 to 30 seconds on each muscle, is a great way to undo that repetitive contraction that you've done to reduce like a buildup of muscle tension. The second really good use for short hold stretches is if you need to have some quick relief throughout your day. So for example, when we work with clients who have neck and shoulder pain, very often they really need to fix their upper body posture because they've been frozen in this kind of like hunched forward position. Now those muscles need long hold stretches, and I'll give you the definition of what I mean by that in a minute when I talk about long hold stretches. But you can't exactly go and lay down on the floor for 10 minutes or 5 minutes in the middle of your day when your neck or shoulder are starting to bother you. So that's when the 20 to 30 second stretches come in. So basically, there's a door frame stretch that we show people, and that's in our desk posture workshop. It's a free workshop on our website if you want to check it out. I'll put the link below, and it goes through this stretch and how to make desk posture easier. But basically the door frame stretch, it's like a 20, 30 second stretch that helps to open this up. That will immediately help your neck and shoulder pain. That will like everybody who does it gets 30 to 80% improvement whenever we do it in a workshop, whenever we show it to people. It really is effective, right? So it's a great one to work in through your day. So it's another reason that short hold stretches can be really beneficial. And to define short hold, what I mean when I say that is a stretch that lasts about 30 seconds, maybe up to a minute. You might, in some cases, push a little bit more than you would in a long hold stretch or not. Really depends on the context. But the main thing is that it's a quick stretch. So now let's talk about long hold stretches, which are my favorite. So a long hold stretch is very, very, very gentle. And the reason it's so gentle is because we're looking at holding these positions for 5 to 10 minutes and sometimes longer, depending on what our goal is, right? Depending on how your body feels. And so what we're trying to do with a long hold stretch is we're basically trying to reprogram your body. One of the things that happens, so let's talk about posture, for example. If over time you've been sitting like this for ages, when muscle is really crowded, it actually develops fewer sarcomeres. So they find that muscle lengthen actually shortens in research, and I will find a link to put in the description so you can look that up. But basically, they shorten the, like if a muscle is short, sorry, my words are escaping me. If muscle tissue is held in a shortened position, it will actually get shorter. So when you lose flexibility, sometimes it is actually because that muscle's gotten shorter. And then they found that you can actually stretch and lengthen it out, and it will develop new sarcomeres, which are the sections of the muscle, and lengthen. Now, again, this is something that I read when I was doing research when I started as a therapist, which is why I say I'm going to find the link. But I did check it out before I made this video, and there is research that shows that when a muscle is held in a shortened position, it does naturally get shorter. And so basically the long hold stretch, the point of the long hold stretch is to help your tissue get back to that relaxed state. And we're not just working on muscle tissue, we're also working on fascia. So one of the things that you should know about fascia is that it responds to mechanical pull. So one of the reasons we theorize that the IT band can get tight is because the fascia, IT band is fascia, right? The fascia is getting pulled on and pulled on and pulled on and pulled on. And because of that mechanical stimulation, it contracts. So, that is Grizzle. I don't know if you could hear that meow, but he's just been sleeping while I've been recording. Anyway, so fascia operates, come on, much like short, smooth muscle tissue. Here, let's just get him up here. Fascia operates much like smooth muscle tissue, and it responds to mechanical stimulation, which means when it gets pulled on, it gets shortened. So we're also trying to re-lengthen fascia. We're trying to release fascia, but obviously we want to do it gently because we don't want to tug on it in a way that means it will contract against the mechanical stimulation. So think of a long hold stretch as being something that's helping your muscle tissue and your fascia reprogram what a normal position is. Going back to neck and shoulders, because it's one of my favorite examples, if you've been like this for a really long time, this is actually creating a lot of this problem, right? Because this is pulling you forward. So you can strengthen the back of the body all you want, and you can release the tight muscle on the back of your neck and your shoulders. But as long as this is pulling you forward, it's not going to do you any good. So the long hold stretch for the front of the body, which we usually do is like the cactus stretch or the V stretch, that puts your body in an open position compared to what it's used to and allows everything in that system to slowly release. One of my favorite things about a long hold stretch is that when you're really connected to your body, you will feel different parts of the muscle and tissue release. So like at first you might feel a stretch across the front of the shoulder, and then you might notice that something in your bicep is opening up, and then you might notice something in your side, and then you might notice something on your sternum. Because you're holding that for a while and you're breathing into it and you're giving your nervous system the space to let go of the muscular contraction, and you're allowing everything to open, it will just kind of move around and release the things that need to be released. And it feels like it's doing it in a specific order. Not that I can predict it because it's going to be different for everybody. So a long hold stretch is really good if you have a long history of overuse of a specific muscle group or poor posture. That means something has shortened. And then you can stay in that position for a period of time to allow the body to release the tissue. Now, what you really don't want to use a long hold stretch for is any muscles that are compensating for the main problem. So, for example, because a long hold stretch is going to really release and lengthen and let go, you don't want to do it on the top of the shoulders, right? If you're, and again, I'll try to think of a running analogy, but right now we're just focusing on upper body. If your upper body is like this and your top of your shoulders are really, really, really tight, doing a long hold stretch on your levator scapula and upper traps is actually going to make the imbalance so much worse because you're stretching this, making this less strong. And because this is really what's pulling you forward, that just means you're going to go even more forward. And then that can lead to like real serious discomfort, sometimes spasms, like not great stuff, right? So you don't want to use a long hold stretch on something that is not one of the centers of the onion, right? One of the core problems. If it's something that's responding to something, then you can do a short hold stretch to give yourself a little bit of relief, but you always want to make sure you're doing it with looking at the underlying cause. Example with the lower body. And the hard thing about the legs is that often it's glute activation that's the problem. So what you need to be doing is the activation. And so the stretching isn't as central. But as an example, hamstrings are often compensating for the piriformis pulling on it, for the glutes not activating, for tension in the IT band, for tension in the quads. And people stretch the crap out of their hamstrings. And so then the hamstrings just end up getting kind of, I don't know if what the right word is, but they're loose, but they're also really tight, and then they're irritated and they're inflamed. And so a lot of people have problems with their hamstrings because their hamstrings are tight, because their hamstrings aren't the primary issue. They're doing all of this stuff to release the hamstrings, and the hamstrings are just getting irritated. Whereas it would be better to do a long hold stretch on, say, the piriformis, because the piriformis is probably super, super tight and pulling on the hamstring, but you have to do that with glute activation, right? So that's where the whole system stuff comes in. Okay, so just to sum up, short hold stretch is really good if you're undoing a lot of contraction in a short period of time, like in a training. You can also do short hold stretching. I didn't mention this before, but you can also do short hold stretching in between sets of weight training. There's been some research that shows that that's a good thing to do. And long hold stretching is more for helping your body remodel itself back to an ideal or closer to ideal alignment to reduce the pressure on your body. So if there is a shortness or a tension in the fascia or the muscle that is pulling you out of alignment, then a long hold stretch allows your body to adjust and open up, but it really, really has to be more gentle. So I hope this helped. I hope this helped distinguish when you should do a short hold stretch and when you should do a long hold stretch. Oh, I just realized in my summary with the short hold stretch, I forgot to also say that it's also good for giving yourself relief during the day if you've got a problem and you can't do a long hold stretch. If you'd like to know, if you're a specific situation, whether it's likely that you need to do a long hold stretch or a short hold stretch, let me know in the comments. I can try and give some advice. Obviously, I can't give individual advice because I can't see you and assess you, but I can kind of generally say what tends to be good. Obviously, with any stretches or exercises or anything that you're doing, work within your own limitation. Don't ever push into anything that feels painful or uncomfortable. If you have any medical conditions, make sure that you check with your doctor or healthcare practitioner that everything's okay for you, because this is just general information, right? But I hope you found it helpful. And if you liked this video, please like it so that more people will see it. If you'd like to see more of these videos, I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe. And if you know anybody who could maybe use this information and help them with their self-care routine, I would absolutely love it if you would forward it to them or tag them below, and I will see you in the next video.